So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. So, I know that all the things that I am writing, uh, they have a lot of data and information. So, don't be in a rush to get it all, to understand all of it. Um, because we are not on a race, we are not here running to get anywhere. So another thing, which I guess is important to say, is that remember that everything that I'm writing are most of them analogies. So don't take everything as literal. All the information that I write there is just like a pedagogic way of writing so you could get the point, not the literal meaning. Okay, so that would be important also to understand. And I say this because it's important. It's important to for you also to discern and to find your own answers. So also remember that the reason why writings and also the channelings, they speak in codes and they speak with parables, they speak we write with analogies and prose and poetry, is because there is no one answer. There is no one truth, the only truth. There are so many different ways of truth that we use these ways of explaining things so you can take it and apply it anywhere in any concept. So this is why basically analogies and poetry is the one that calls the numbers, the only possible truth of numbers, 1, 0. They call it God. They call it everything in vacuum. They call it I and am. So it's an analogy. So you can use it from the perspective you prefer. Otherwise, people who is emotional won't accept that that reality is just about codes of numbers. And I myself have no idea of how to rest and how to make divisions, how to make numbers, sum and multiplication and so on. So I won't be the good one to try to explain it through numbers. So today, related to the chakra of knees, we will talk about the topic of attachment. So the topic of attachment is very used in spirituality and the consciousness path nowadays. But it's important also to understand that usually we use it in a very wide way and not really what we are supposed to understand about it. As all the things that we have been spoken here, we usually try to, we usually polarize this concept into attachment and detachment. The vibration for today is vous. Vous. The statement for today is I am the transmutation of paths. Remember that we are in Nice. The code for today is the 12th dimension. The interdimensional box is like a tesseract made by a complex Rubik cube, where all parallel time and space interact with each other and can be modified. Not only the future of a parallel world can be modified, but an imaginary universe at the same time can modify the past of our reality. There are no limits, and everything is moldable. Let's go to the alignment. Let's begin with the alignment. We begin by moving slowly the shoulders. I focus only in my breathing. I take a deep breath and I relax the shoulders. I begin to imagine the light around me, the light within me. I pay attention to all the people that I know surround me, the good ones, the bad ones, all of them. I pay attention that all these people around me are connected to me by this same light and the same body. It's a tissue, a network. The good ones and the bad ones, according to me, they are all connected. And such ones as the others, I am attached to all of them. All of them connected in this great ocean that is mine. I take a deep breath and I dive within the waters. And I see the light and clarity stay above as I go deeper into the shadows and the darkness of my subconscious. But I remember that I am attached to all those people. I am tied to them. So take a look of who of those people I am bringing with me into the shadows. To what of those good and bad people I am bringing with me, pulling to the depth and the pressure of my subconscious. I recognize why. Why am I attached to these people? Is because of love? Or because I need them? Is because I admire them? Or because I hate them? And the people that I left behind above in the ocean, I left them because I don't need them, or because I abandoned them. What was the best? To be attached or to be detached? I recognize that I am an individual that exists due to the attachment. I also recognize that by trying to be detached from all of it, I am just denying and abandoning, leaving behind everything that I am. This is why I set my intention. I desire to live free, living fully here and now. Breathe and resound. I am the transmutation of paths. Yo soy la transmutación de los caminos. I am the transmutation of paths. For I am free of all the paths here and now. And I live plenty in these forms, for I am the transmutation of all the forms. Once upon a time, there was a tree that had created many fruits and seeds, but it never left them go away. This tree grew up alone in a very wide desert. And there was a moment when it saw its dad coming closely. It has no other way to let all the seeds fall down. So in that moment, from the seeds, many trees starts to grow up. And they were surrounding this other tree, helping him, sharing with him until the very last day of its life. It was in that moment when the tree recognized that it's by living away the forms that you can plantly live this existence. Take a deep breath. Take your hands to the heart. And we come back here and now. Slowly, each one at its own time. What is attachment? Attachment is to think that if I leave all go, if I let everything go away, everything that makes me feel safe, so I will lose everything. Detachment would be to think that if I let everything go away, everything that holds me in this world, I will set myself free. In the world of spirituality, we usually speak about attachment, and we usually say about attachment that what we have to aim is detachment from things. But what we don't really understand is that to get detached is basically to not to be responsible. So basically, to be detached sometimes it's not to be responsible of what you have created. So the question that I would do to this network that we is we here working in our attachment or our detachment? Remember that we have two different types of attachment and detachment. The first one, attachment, we call it to be in the service of survival. And detachment, we would call it service of transcendence. So service to survival is basically to be in service to life. Our body is constantly trying to make us survive. So it is attached to life constantly and does everything to survive for life. So it is bad to want to protect life? No. It's not bad. It's okay. So attachment, the service to survival would be basically to put all your energy to try to hold the things equally to make you feel secure and safe in your comfort zone. And detachment is the service to transcendence, which is, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter life, because life is eternal. So you don't have to attach to anything. So remember, attachment is the one that helps you to survive, is the one that tells you if you stay here, you will be safe. So on the other hand, we have detachment, which would be to transcend, to say, well, I can leave all this because the word of shapes, it doesn't matter, which can leave because we are eternal and we can leave all of this. So the attachment would be this tree that wants to hold everything, all information for it, the seeds, because that's the only way it has to survive. So by detachment, this tree can leave these seeds and by that it can create new seeds, and the other trees growing around with the roots can hold it so it doesn't fall down. But in this example, my question would be, in all this process, did the tree left the ground? Did the tree, by detachment, left to the fifth dimension? Of course not. What it did was to find its freedom through transcendence. So transcendence is to set yourself free, not to live away. Is to set yourself free and transcend here. So what we have to do when we talk about detachment is not to let things away and to go around in another dimension. What detachment means is to be aware of that link, to be aware of the bound. Because when we are attached, it's because we have no idea why we are holding the other one. And by fear, by comfort, we are afraid of things to change, and that's why we get attached to them. This is why I changed the shapes today, the forms. And I want to point some things here. When I changed the ways, I noticed that there were many reactions in the negative and the positive ways. You started to fight each other. You started to do opinions of what was happening. People that ask for respect and silence, but they are writing too. People that say, focus in the meditation during the meditation. People that judge those who say focus. People that comment things that it's not related with what is happening. People that needs to call attention, positive and negative, in different ways. And as you see, I am not with any one of you. I'm just doing an observation that happens to all of us, to you, to me, everyone. So all emotions and all the things that happen, that changed, that happened like that, with all these reactions, are just because a tiny change. And that is what shows us how attached we are to the shapes. So with this, I'm not saying that I don't like that you write too much in the blog, in the comment here. I'm not saying that that I don't like everything that you put. I really appreciate for all the people that say thank you, or the people that say silence please, respect. I really appreciate that, because it's really good. Thank you. So I'm not pointing on that. I have no problems with you writing. I don't really care. It doesn't bother me really. So don't worry. It's not that the chat is taking me from the point. It's normal for me sometimes to stay like what I'm saying. So it's not about the chat. Don't worry. The chat is kind of something that helps me to use it as a feedback, as statistics. Okay, even if they don't use for anything, they're not useful for anything. But somehow, sometimes what we do by nature, because we don't want for things to change, we want the things to be very specific. Okay, is that instead of being in our center, doing what we are supposed to do, we are saying to the others what we expect for them to be. The reason why I'm saying this mostly about all the people that is saying that is helping me trying to put order and to saying to help with silence and all that, is because I am trying to take care of those people, because I noticed that they are the most aligned and the ones that are more willing to do everything. The reason I'm pointing this is because the question would be, from where do we want to help the others? It's just to understand that you also can close the chat. What I just wanted to say is to try to think about from which point we say things. So it doesn't matter if you comment, it doesn't matter if you talk, it doesn't matter if you use it because it's useful for me what you are writing here. The reason is just to remind you how attached we are to our expectations, to what it is supposed to be. So this is why I will try to do some of these things sometimes, just to help us to see what are the things that we should practice. So one of the biggest attachments that we have to let it go is the attachment to expectations. Because everything that we usually do is expecting a result, is expecting something that we would love for it to be, and not what it is. And one of the practice for detachment is not to just let it go, is to use what it has changed for something new. Like for example, the silence today in the moment when we begin. Maybe it wasn't comfortable, but we could have been using that for something new, like learn to be in silence. So attachment is to be stuck in an expectation above all. It might be something silly at the beginning, but it will become useful in bigger moments, like in politics, in economy, in families and relationships. The only thing we are attached to are expectations. And the only thing from which we can detach is from expectations. I will try not to be a bad guy tomorrow. Have sweet dreams. See you tomorrow.